Less, they went on a rant today about JuJu Watkins should be talked about in the same way as Caitlin Clark.
Stephen A. Smith just made a bold statement, claiming that JuJu Watkins is on the same level as Caitlin Clark. But wait, could he be serious? Fans are flipping out, saying Smith has completely lost his perspective.
Wow. Okay, where do we even start? I mean, Caitlin Clark's actually already in the WNBA and has already been WNBA all first team. All WNBA first team. Think about that now. As a rookie. And led the league in assists and scored 19 points. And her team, which had the first pick last year, made it to the playoffs. Yeah, even my dog knows it, for crying out loud. But you're going to have the media start this, and it's the same train we got on with Angel Reese.
Honestly, it's starting to feel like Stephen doesn't even follow the WNBA closely. Let's dive into this because Caitlin Clark isn't just dominating games, she's making history. Think back to that unforgettable third quarter against.
Here's Martin. Clark, again coming off the screens. Clark steps back, fires, you bet!
Times when you just can't avoid.
That third quarter was pure magic. Now, you might be asking, what about JuJu? Well, get ready because we're about to break down why this comparison is driving basketball fans wild. What Caitlin Clark did against LSU wasn't just a game. It was a bold, unforgettable statement.
Here's Clark. Clark pulls up, another deep one. Is good!
Caitlin Clark once again dancing with the basketball, seeing it go through the net.
She sank multiple threes from well beyond the arc, including a step-back shot from 30 feet out. That's not just shooting. It's pure confidence on full display. Now, you might be asking, how does Clark keep pulling this off? It's not just her remarkable scoring. Think back to when Iowa had no business even making the tournament.
That is why Caitlin Clark got the hype she did. That is why people talked about Caitlin Clark. Because she was winning games she had no right to win. Iowa had no right to win this game.
Clark didn't just lead them there, she dragged that team kicking and screaming to victory. She's the reason Iowa wins games they have no right winning, but here's where it gets really interesting. Clark's racking up both points and assists and breaking records with them.
At Iowa, I thought scoring, yes, she's the all-time greatest scorer in the history of college basketball, men's or women's, but passing like this, I'm talking about gifted LeBron-esque bounce passing. I'm talking about gifted LeBron-esque two-handed, full court, touchdown pass kind of passing, the likes of which I don't see in the WNBA.
Exactly. She's a dual threat that defenses just can't crack. Whether it's passing or shooting with Clark, you never know what's coming next. You might be thinking, okay, but lots of players score and pass. True, but not like her. As the coach said, Caitlin Clark isn't just playing basketball, she's redefining it. And he's spot on. Clark thrives under pressure, consistently stepping up in the most crucial moments.
And by the way, this is against an LSU team who are way better than current day UConn. This team had Anissa Morrow, Williams, Flau'jae, and Angel Reese. This team's 100, and Haley Van Lith. This team's 100 times better than this year's UConn.
Can you believe the impact she's having? Caitlin Clark isn't just changing games. She's reshaping the way we view women's basketball. She's setting an entirely new standard for what's possible on the court. But hold on, there's more to this story. Let's talk about JuJu Watkins, because after seeing what Clark can do, it's only natural to wonder how JuJu compares. So when Stephen A. Smith says JuJu Watkins deserves Caitlin Clark-level hype, it raises some serious questions.
Yo, man, we should be talking about her the way we talked about Caitlin Clark last year. JuJu, absolutely. JuJu's special. I'm telling you that right now. She is the packet.
But hold up. What if I told you JuJu isn't even the best player in college basketball right now? In fact, she might not even be the best player on her own team.
I mean that JuJu Watkins right now might be the third best player in college basketball. I think it's, look, UCLA are so good. Lauren Betts is better than JuJu Watkins right now.
Now, you might be thinking, But JuJu is a great scorer, and sure, she can put up points. But at what cost? Here's a shocking stat for you.
And like, in fairness, I thought JuJu did a good job making against UConn. But up to this point in her college career, she's averaged more turnovers than assists.
JuJu is actually averaging more turnovers than assists. That's not just bad, it's a red flag. It means she's giving the ball away more often than she's setting up her teammates. For a player getting this much hype, that's a serious issue. And those big games everyone keeps talking about, the ones where JuJu's supposed to shine, well, she's been nowhere to be found. One analyst summed it up perfectly.
In my opinion, JuJu, up until that last game, I don't think she'd been good this year. Like, she was bad in her first game against Ole Miss. She'd been awful against ranked opponents this year.
Ouch. That's not the kind of performance you expect from someone being compared to Caitlin Clark. Here's the real kicker. Some experts are starting to question if JuJu's game is more about style than substance.
It's just nonsense, and that's the biggest problem is that JuJu is Ryan Howard with a better highlight tape. And I mean that. And that's not a knock. I really like Ryan Howard. Ryan Howard, if not for injury, is an all-star all 3 seasons of the WNBA. Ryan Howard probably makes 2028 Olympic team. She is Ryan Howard with a prettier highlight tape.
What? That's a pretty harsh comparison, suggesting that while JuJu Watkins might look good on camera, she's not delivering when it truly matters. So, what's the bottom line here? JuJu Watkins isn't just falling short of Caitlin Clark. She's not even in the conversation for the best player in college basketball right now.
And look, JuJu Watkins, I think, is a good shot blocker. She's an elite shot blocker. But, like, she's not, like, the greatest. She's not nearly as good a defender as Hannah Hidalgo is. The best player in college basketball by so much is Hannah Hidalgo.
Struggles against top teams, turnover issues, and her disappearing act in big games all point to one thing. The hype just isn't matching reality. But wait, there's more to this story. We need to dive into why Stephen A. Smith's take is so far off base. When you look at the facts, it makes you wonder, has he even been watching the same games we have? Ever heard the phrase, a day late and a dollar short? That's Stephen A. Smith's relationship with women's college basketball in a nutshell.
And the reality situation is JuJu's not even the best player in college basketball. And it shows Stephen A. Smith's not watching, saying that JuJu Watkins should have the same hype as Caitlin Clark did last year.
But his latest hot take on JuJu Watkins isn't just late, it's completely off track. Let's break down why Smith's opinion is so far off the mark, it's almost laughable. First off, has Stephen A. Smith even watched a full game this season? Because if he had, he'd know there's a player out there making JuJu look average, and her name isn't Caitlin Clark.
The most exciting player in college basketball is Hannah Hidalgo. The best player in college basketball is Hannah Hidalgo.
Yep, it's Hannah Hidalgo. Smith completely missed the boat on Hidalgo, who's been dominating all season. Remember when Hidalgo faced off against JuJu?
And when JuJu played against Hannah Hidalgo, JuJu did nothing. JuJu had 8 points or something. Or JuJu, was it 10? Going into garbage time down 20. And you're like, oh, you know, Notre Dame lost to TCU and they lost to Utah. And it's like, yeah, so what? When in the games that really mattered, really mattered, against UConn and against USC, Hannah Hidalgo was 10 times better than Paige Beckers. And Hannah Hidalgo was also much, much better than JuJu Watkins in that game.
JuJu only managed to score 8 points, and most of those came when the game was practically over. That's not the kind of performance you expect from a supposed superstar. Hidalgo didn't just win, she dominated. But did you hear a peep from Smith about that? Nope. And it's not just Hidalgo. Smith's take on JuJu shows he's missing the big picture of women's college basketball. He's hyping up JuJu without truly understanding her contributions or how she compares to the competition. It's like he's watching highlight reels instead of full games.
And that's the reality situation, is you can tell these people aren't watching these games. You can tell they're not watching the games when they're saying there's a comparison. If you want to make the argument that JuJu Watkins is as good as sophomore Caitlin Clark, there's an argument there.
You might be thinking, but he's a sports expert. Sure, in some areas, but when it comes to women's college basketball, Smith's track record is pretty shaky. Remember last year when he finally noticed Caitlin Clark?
Just like he didn't watch one game of college basketball last year until Caitlin Clark versus LSU. Just like he didn't watch one game the year before until Caitlin Clark versus LSU. I don't even think Stephen A. Smith knows who Hannah Hidalgo is. And I mean that. If you asked him who Hannah Hidalgo is, Stephen A. Smith does not watch one game of college basketball until that game.